2 Samuel chapter 2. And it came to pass after these things, and David asked by the Lord, saying, Shall I ascend unto one of the cities of Judah? And the Lord said to him, Ascend. And David said, Where should I ascend? And he said, Unto Hebron. And David ascended there, and both of his wives, Ahinoam the Jezreelitess, and Abigail, the wife of Nabal the Carmelite. And the men were with him, each one and his house, and they dwelt among the cities of Hebron. And the men of Judea come and anoint David there to reign over the house of Judah. And they reported to David, saying, The men of Jabesh of the Gileadites entombed Saul. And David sent messengers to the leaders of Jabesh of the Gileadites, and said to them, Being blessed are you to the Lord, that you performed this mercy for your master, for Saul, and you entombed him. And now may the Lord perform mercy and truth with you. And indeed, I will do with you this good that you did in this matter. And now strengthen your hands, and become as mighty sons, for Saul your master has died. And indeed, the house of Judah has anointed me over them for king. And Abner, son of Ner, commander-in-chief of Saul, took Ishbosheth, son of Saul, and brought him from out of the camp into Mahanaim. And he gave him to reign over Gilead, and over the Asherites, and over Jezreel, and over Ephraim, and over Benjamin, and over all Israel. Ishbosheth, son of Saul, was 40 years old when he reigned over Israel, and he reigned 2 years, except for the house of Judah, which were following after David, and became the number of the days of which David reigned in Hebron over the house of Judah 7 years and 6 months. And Abner, son of Ner, came forth, and the servants of Ishbosheth, son of Saul, from out of Mahanaim unto Gibeon. And Joab, son of Zeruiah, and the servants of David, came forth from out of Hebron, and met them at the fountain of Gibeon. And these sat here on this side, and these others at the fountain here on that side. And Abner said to Joab, Raise up indeed the servant lads, and let them play before us. And Joab said, Let them arise. And they rose up, and went by in number 12 of the servants of Benjamin of Ishbosheth, son of Saul, and 12 of the servants of David. And they each held by their hand the head of his neighbor, and his knife was thrust into the side of his neighbor, and they fell down together. And they called that place Portion of the Plotters, which is in Gibeon. And the battle was hard, so as to an exceeding degree in that day. And Abner and the men of Israel failed before the servants of David. And there were 3 sons of Zeruiah, Joab, and Abishai, and Asahel. And Asahel was light of his feet, as one doe of the ones in the field. And Asahel pursued after Abner, and did not turn aside to go to the right nor to the left after Abner. And Abner looked to his rear, and said, Are you Asahel himself? And he said, I am. And Abner said to him, Turn aside to the right or to the left, and constrain to yourself one of the servant lads, and take to yourself his full armor. And Asahel did not want to turn aside from being behind him. And Abner added yet, saying to Asahel, Leave from me, that I should not strike you unto the ground. For how shall I lift my face to Joab your brother? And he was not willing to leave. and Abner struck him with the rear of the spear upon his flank. And the spear went completely through from out of behind him, and he falls there and dies underneath him. And it came to pass, everyone coming unto the place where Asahel fell there and died, even stood still. And Joab and Abishai pursued after Abner, and the sun went down. And they entered into the hill of Ammah, according to the face of Giah, the wilderness way of Gibeon. And the sons of Benjamin gathered together following after Abner, and came to meet as one, and stood upon the head of one hill. And Abner called Joab, and said, Shall the broadsword devour in victory? Or do you not know that it will be bitter at the last? And for how long shall you in no way speak to the people to return from following after their brothers? And Joab said, As the Lord lives, that if you had not spoken, that then from the morning the people ascended, even each after his brother. And Joab trumped the trumpet, and all the people left, and did not pursue any longer after Israel, and proceeded not any longer to wage war. And Abner and his men went forth at the descent of the sun, and went all that night, and passed over the Jordan, and went the entire extent, and came unto camp. And Joab returned from following behind Abner, and he gathered together all the people, and they numbered the servants of David having fallen, 19 men, and Asahel. And the servants of David struck of the sons of Benjamin, of the men of Abner, 360 men. And they lifted up Asahel, and entombed him in the burying place of his father in Bethlehem. And Joab and his men went the entire night, and light shined through to them in Hebron.